think that's where a lot of people go bad with a pup. They throw them in a pen and just throw feed to them every day. And to me, you got to make a connection with them. Some guys don't agree with me on that, but I think you got to have a good bond with a dog.
It's real simple, I think, with a pup, and a lot of people don't understand it. When a pup is ready to start, it will start. You can't force a pup to start, and you can't force a pup to treat. It has to do it on its own.
So how you doing, Randy?
I'm great. How about yourself, brother?
Pretty good. It's beautiful here. We're in Pennsylvania, and it's October 25th, so it's orange and yellow fall everywhere.
Yes, it is. Most of the trees are starting to shed some of the leaves now, but it's a beautiful time of the year. It's been the prettiest fall I can ever remember. Weather's been warm and mild, and it's been really nice. Overly dry, but other than that, it's been really nice.
Yeah, if you just enjoy the view, I mean, it's gorgeous. But like you said, it's been extremely dry out.
Yes.
You've been hunting much lately, then?
Yeah, I've been hunting about probably 5 nights a week, and there hasn't been any hold up, like I said, for the weather. So usually, fall can be a really wet, time here, and there hasn't been any hold up with that. But coons are moving so, but yeah, as you could tell from last night, right?
That's more on the so, less on the moving.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
What dogs you been hunting?
Farrah mostly. Just turned 2-year-old female out of Rosedale Frogger and Lone Pine Quickshot. I've been hunting Little Fran a little bit because we needed some TOC wins on her. Mm-hmm. We got both of them ready to go for next spring for that, and now it's pure training time. And enjoy the nice fall coon hunt here.
Yeah, I guess a lot people know that you have a ton of dogs, but do you know off the top of your head how many dogs you have that can tree coon consistently?
I would say probably in the mid to high teens.
Yeah, that's
somewhere in there. Yeah,
16 to 18 somewhere.
Something like that. Guessing. Yep, most of them all, titled and all that. Yep, anywhere from Sue's still hanging in there at 13 to like the youngster you just brought back that's a yearling.
Yep.
But, some real good stuff going on. Chris Saunders is hunting a really hot ticket little female out of Frogger, and Jill, and just got Lady back from John, and we're waiting to see if she's going to have pups here, and so on and so forth. Same thing, just different rotation.
Yeah. Did you want to say what you tried breeding her to?
Yeah, I bred her to Full Throttle Jig Seaman that I have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When do you think you'll know if she took or not?
She was bred on the 28th, so within the next few days here, I should usually right at a month. I look at them so close every day, I can tell if they, ate just a little wee bit more than normal,
Well, hopefully she took.
I hope. I had her at North Ridgeville out there. You helped me get her there, and they're probably as good or better than anybody in the country. Whenever I get a female back there, I have them surgically implanted, and I mostly get pups, and they said the semen looked good, so
yeah,
let's hope for the best.
Yeah, you could tell by looking at that place. It was unbelievable. I don't know how many people they see or animals they see a day, but just walking through the parking lot, they had at least 50 curbside waiting area signs, and that's just in the area where I parked. They might have had even more, but
at peak time there's actually you could probably count over 100 vehicles in the parking lot with staff and whatever. It's a happening place.
Yeah, it's like a giant people-size hospital.
Yes, yeah, they do therapy there, and I probably, I think chemo, everything.
Right.
They do it all. Yep, they do it all. So I've been going there now ever since Dean Bitzel passed away. I've been using them, and of course they're way, way more expensive. But when you're fooling with this stuff at this point, you want to make sure you get puppies.
Yeah, and that there's not a lot of people or places that do it as much anymore. I don't think.
No, there's not, and I won't just trust anybody. I mean, the bill that I get there every time, you got to push your mouth back shut whenever you're leaving the parking lot. But that's how it is. Yeah.
Anymore with any vet for anything, though, you can go there and get their nails clipped, and it's going to be outrageous.
Ridiculous. Yep. Yep. And that goes for new ones opening up or ones that have been business for 50 years. They all know how to charge now.
Yeah, that's for sure. I can't, and where that place is at too, it's like in a suburb.
Yeah.
And I had to drive through, it was like a mile and a half of just like a subdivision.
Yeah.
Houses almost like $500,000 houses touching each other almost. They're so close together.
Right. Yep.
So
they're in the market there. Yeah.
There was just nothing but women and kids pushing strollers and walking dogs. And so I'm sure there's just
endless stream of customers.
Yep.
Yeah. It used to be Dr. Robert Hutchinson was the reproductive vet there, and he's recently retired. I saw him he was there visiting one time. I was there picking a female up here over the last 6 months, but there's competent folks in there that he trained they're on it.
Yeah, it's really something to see, because you go in there, they have 2 great big waiting rooms, and they take you back into like a little individual room that you would go in a hospital pretty much.
Like a consultant station or whatever you want to call it.
And all of them had like equipment in it to
it's
look at the animal, diagnose it with different like ultrasound machines and all that stuff.
Everything. Yeah. So we have high hopes that we get a litter coming here. There's people have been waiting for me to do this, so it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Do
you have any backup plans if that don't work?
Well, we'll breed her again the next time.
So, do you have more of that?
Well, I do have one more of those.
Yeah. I don't know if you were...
Yeah, I've been waiting. I've had a couple of them for years and years now, and I've been waiting just for the right female to use one on. But we're not talking about in the negative right now. We're saying that she's, we're not looking the next time,
Well, what if she does take, and would you breed... Again, do you think you'd do the same cross?
No.
Do something else?
No, I'd breed her to something else.
No.
Yeah.
Do you know how good that stuff's good for?
I don't. I don't know. I mean, I think it's practically, I think that over time it probably weakens some, but I know they're still using Spring Creek rock semen from, the 70s or whenever. Yeah. So, it's... kind of indefinite, I guess.
Yeah. That'd be really interesting to see like 30, 40 years from now. Because now the technology is good enough where kind of how to they know how to handle it. So.
Oh, yeah. I think it's the put up is better now than what it was then,
Yeah.
But,
a lot more money. People are incentivized now, a lot more money.
Yeah.
So... Talking about breeding, one of the questions I got on Patreon, guy wanted to know, Alan Zimmerman wanted to know what you look for when you're picking a stud for one of your females.
Well, of course you want that dog to have the hunting attributes that you're looking to have in your breeding program, of course, and solid pedigree that has good foundation stock from the back, right up to the front there is important. And, I kind of go off of a lot of times what, the dog has reproduced already. I can be kind of late in the game as far as using a dog, use them later on in life. But, I've done it all over the board. I bred the Frogger when he was young. He started to things were getting hot with him, and I used him as a young guy. But yeah, one of the main things is that they're hard going, and that they have a coon whenever they get hooked up. And if I have that in a dog, and the dog's got a good mouth and everything, I have a lot of faith in my females that they'll more than do their part as far as what the end result is in the pups. Right. But speaking of Frogger, I mean, he's one though that's I would consider him dominant, and there's probably other ones out there. I know that I would say probably Willie is a kind of a dominant reproducer. They have the same look and a lot of the same traits and everything in there. But sometimes that a dominant reproducer isn't really the dog that I'm looking for, because I like to keep my traits that I have in my females. So it's it's one of them things that you don't know till you try, really. And just making sure that the dog has a solid, his mom and dad were good, solid coon dogs, and the type of dog that you're looking for. Yeah. That's another thing. There's a lot of dogs that tree coons consistently. They do it a lot of different ways, but like the female you hunted with last night, she's like the stamp, really, that she's a good hustling, wide hunting dog. She opens on cold tracks and gets them hustled up, and has a coon at the end of the game there, and she's fancy, I think. Yep. And that's what we're all looking for, I think. I don't like a lot of things that the guys prefer in the competition game, a dog that leaves there barking, or I don't like to have a radical dog on the place. Most of the time, unless there's a young dog that's causing trouble around here, nobody would even know I had dogs here on the place. They're pretty calm demeanored.
Yeah. When you were talking earlier, saying about like when you're picking a stud, like obviously one that trees coon and what style you want, and a lot of them do it a different way. And I was thinking that that's true. There's so many stud dogs you can pick now. They all have different styles and do it different ways. So
I think we're in a really good time right now for people. Stud dog, there's several dogs that are doing a really good job of producing winners consistently out of all different backgrounds of females. It's a good time right now, I think. I mean, there was times when I didn't know what to breed to, and now with Frogger and Driveline and Willie, and I mean, there's several of them out there that you're not. It's not a big gamble. You're going to probably get something.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting ready to say. Is like there's so many. If you're all you care about is tree and coon, there's a ton of stud dogs you can pick for. But for me, what really separates certain dogs with me is how they act at home.
Oh, that is huge.
There's certain lions that, they will. Some of them I don't care if they would win me a world hunt.
Yeah.
If they're at home eating my kennel up and destroying houses and barking, there's plenty of dogs that can tree coon and look and sound great and not be an absolute idiot.
Yeah, hard to deal with. I absolutely will not. If the buzz is that a dog's like hyper, or a nice way they put it is action packed or whatever like that, I'm like buyer beware a little bit. I like a brainy, calm dog that knows its job, and they're not causing me a lot of grief in between.
Action packed is probably one of the best marketing phrases for coon dogs I've heard in a long time.
Yeah, they
went from slick treeing to action packed.
To those old phrases that right or wrong they're going to stay. When they started talking that way, we were on the down slope. It was not too good.
Yeah. We talked about that a little bit last night about the era of a lot of empty trees.
Oh my! There was times whenever I thought that this was never going to turn around. I tried a lot of different dogs, and I made the mistake a lot in the past of liking what a dog's pedigree looked like, and it helped push my judgment towards breeding to him. And that that can be okay. Mm-hmm. But what I would prefer to do is outcross on a dog that that maybe it's got good solid background and everything, and then if I like to see what I want in my past dogs, then I line breed and double them up, do it myself, rather than thinking that I like what a pedigree looks like and not judging the dog on performance just on that's not a real good way to look at it.
It's a nice tool to have. It's like a piece of a puzzle. But
yes, but there's lots of pieces.
Yeah,
yeah. Don't just liking a pedigree is not too good. It's not good. No.
Especially, I don't think it's as common anymore, but people put so much stock in a title on a dog or like what hunts they've won. Mm-hmm. And that's great. And it's impressive for a dog to do that, but that has nothing to do with what it's going to reproduce or how it's going to reproduce.
Nothing. Right. That's right. I mean, myself included, I like to think that the dog was a winner and he's going to reproduce winners, but, and most of the dogs that I've used through the years have proven themselves in the competition ring, but, I've had some real good runs with certain lines of dogs, and we're talking about this young female. She's out of, Shot was out of Jigs, and the Homer bred the Jigs and Bone Collector stuff was like a shining star for me here. They were like a grand slam for my females, and there's other ones too, but those two pop up really quick to mind whenever I think of like the ideal dog for this country anyway. Trail Coon up, have it, hustling around.
Yeah. You say that your dogs have done some winning as we're sitting here surrounded by every corner has just giant trophies all around us right now.
Yeah, I used to chase after that stuff, not so much anymore, but we've had a lot of, I've been blessed with, Tom was a good mentor for me, and my buddies, Gene Harrison and Woody Malone from down in Maryland, I seen early on in the game the type of dog that I liked, and I've never lost that vision.
Yeah, pretty much like we talked about this last night too. If you have a dog that can perform here, it's a heck of a dog because it's mountainy. I mean, it's straight up and down. It's briar thickets.
Yeah,
the coon population isn't great. Like this year, it's bone dry. There's not a lot of agriculture, so I mean, they've got to go a mile here sometimes just to strike and tree a coon. But the effort and ground they actually cover is probably like in flatland closer to 3 or 4 miles.
Yeah, I think it is. Like last night when we turned Farrah loose, she didn't go but about 350 or something before she struck the first one. Mm-hmm. I don't know what time it was. It must have been like 11, something like that, about 11 o'clock or something, and worked a cold track up and treat a big old coon on the outside of a den. Recut her right off of that, and I know we set up on the highest peak up there for probably an hour while she was roaming the countryside there, and she finally found one about, I think it was 0.8 from where we were setting.
To.
Yeah, where we drove to. But I know for a fact she had to cover 2.5 miles,
of rough country.
Yeah, it's she's never loses heart. You can watch a dog on that drive track and see like they're frustrated. She just keeps
steady.
pegging it out. Yep. Yeah, for a young dog that just turned 2, I think she's got a really bright future.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because if she can do that here, you put her.
Oh yeah, where it's easy. It's like, yeah.
Like where I'm at, just about any dog, if they have any sort of sense to tree a coon, they're going to have an opportunity to tree a coon. Some nights, every 200 or 300 yards, there can be a coon sitting.
Yeah.
Flat egg. So I mean, it's great for starting dogs. But if you want to see the top end, what they're going to be able to do when it's. A good night here is like a bad night in January at home.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, isn't that sad? But, we used to have more coons here. There were more coons here when there was people trapping and catching hides than
Yeah.
what there is now. And that's probably true for a lot of areas. It's sad that there's no fur market anymore,
Yeah.
but that's something I've, complained about for years
Yeah.
now. That's always been my whole,
Yeah, because
driven thing.
people listening to this, if they've seen that video, they know that you've trapped and stuff, but you didn't just coon hunt. Like, you have trapped about everything and a lot of it.
Yeah.
These pictures you got around here.
Really I would put myself out there. There was 2 different seasons between coon hunting and I would only trap the last month of season from like mid-January to mid-February, because if you trap raccoons in the fall or whatever, you just little cubs and flat females and stuff, whereas I trapped in rut season. And 2 different times I broke over 1,000. One time it was a little less than 1,100, and one time a little less than 1,300.
Jeez. And I've seen you got some nice pictures of coyotes and fox
trapped
too.
coyotes in the deep south for the live market, and in the Midwest for just for fur sale, and thousands of red fox from Maryland. I've been to Louisiana lots and lots of times to trap otters and bobcats, and have done good. I've been a lot of work, but I
bet.
I really enjoyed it. Like there's probably a couple top otter trappers whenever there's good fur market, that would catch over 100 otters in a season, and whenever like Rick and I, or my buddy Joel and I, would be in Louisiana, we'd catch over 100 in a couple weeks. But it was daylight to dark, like a couple 100 miles a day road trapping and wading through beavers and nutria and coons and stuff to get what you was after, but we enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do people trap? Like, do they sell that fur? Or?
No, they used to. See, they were an invasive species brought in from South America during the fur boom, because you could ranch raise them, and they would just reproduce like crazy. And then when the fur market crashed, they just turned them loose. And just like anything invasive, they just there's places like on the eastern shore there and all, where they'll just eat that cattail habitat down to the mud. They have bounties on them and stuff, but they're really a rough-looking critter.
Just a giant muskrat.
Yeah, yeah. Real coarse hair on them. They're not pretty at all.
Yeah,
but, yeah.
I'm glad we don't have those things
No,
around
me too.
here.
Yep. Yeah.
So back to coon hunting stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with talking about that too, because you fish. You
Yeah.
got a whale up on the wall behind us, I think.
Yeah, I caught my lifetime personal best northern pike, not this past summer, but the summer before in Alaska. It was a 53-inch giant that I'd been waiting to get a replica made of a big pike, and that was, you can't catch another one that big again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be unbelievable if you did, because that's thing.
Yeah, that was probably like a high 30s pound fish, big pike. Yep. Yeah, pike are what now my son Troy and I have went on a couple trips, and he's got bit by the bug. Pike are fun. They're aggressive, they're tough, they fight, they're always in the mood to play. They're fun. Yep.
Yeah, after catching something like that, it would be kind of hard to want to fish.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
Really small.
Everything else is bait.
Yeah. Like literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's giant fish.
Yeah, it was a good one.
So back to stud dogs. The next part of that, guys, Alan's question. When you're making a cross, do you have a ton of quality females, obviously. Mm-hmm. Do you kind of view each of them individually, like when you're comparing them with a stud, or do you look?
Yeah, there's times whenever there's a really hot stud dog out there that's young, and he's getting good offspring and everything, that I might breed, 2 or 3 or so, like right in a row to him. And the idea of that is then, I'll have those daughters then, that I can go out in different directions with, and it's just like I did with Frogger, and I've done with Bone, and just different dogs in the past, that I've had. And they all just seem to do their part. I wouldn't keep a female or breed one here that I wouldn't want a pup out of her that was exactly like her. If you do that, everybody wants to see improvements, but that's been always my trademark thing to say about, breeding a female. If you're not totally happy with one that's just like her, you shouldn't.
Right.
You shouldn't breed her.
Yeah. That makes sense, and that's, if you're happy with it, you should want that. Or
yeah, and different things make, some people are, I guess I don't know. I'm really hard to satisfy when it comes to like the end result. I can see through, young dog stuff and everything, but there's certain things that I don't want to try to correct out of them, and like false treeing is one of them. Like one that drives you crazy with, their actions or what, because I don't want to put up with that then forever.
Right.
So the whole idea is that, you have that sample, that example that you want. I just try to stick tight to that, try to duplicate that as much as I can, and breed the brains and the go power and the accuracy in there, and that's a pretty good formula.
Yeah, and that's why it's frustrating to me, because you can get that ideal dog. You can get that without all the stupidity that some of these modern dogs, the babbling, people talk about babbling in hunts. What do you think that dog is doing in the kennel, in the box?
It's got to be bad.
You don't need that. Like, there's so many dogs out there that don't act like that. Like, why would you want?
Right. Yeah, I just want one that's sensible. What I really enjoy about a dog is from the first time that they open out in there, I can tell exactly, what the quality of track is, right. If it's thick in there, I can just see progress being made, that just like I said about looking on that drive track, there's a lot to be said about looking on there and seeing that dog is very seldom, whether it's hunting, whether it's tracking a coon, whatever it's doing, that it rarely puts its feet in the same place twice.
Yeah.
When you have one that isn't, like looping around and struggling and everything, that's important. To me, it's really important that this dog is always moving into different country, to get the thing done. And I've seen them through the years, where they just paint that screen. That's not one that I want to use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, but like I was talking before about the terrain, because that's what you got to have.
Yeah, they got to just keep pushing forward. It's like around it, sooner or later, around a turn, you're going to come on one.
Mm-hmm.
If you just keep after it.
Yeah.
Yep, and we also saw her last night. She somewhere in between when we recut her and where she ended up treeing a coon, she had struck a track in there that she just couldn't. She just couldn't make much of it there, and it wasn't probably but 5 minutes, and she was. Mm-hmm. She was barreling out of there, and that was something I talked to you about last night, that, 15, 20 years ago, you just never seen that much. That would have been a dog that was beating around in there that ended up just coming treed out of, aggravation, yeah. And they would be empty. Today, without a lot of encouragement, these dogs, they get it in their mind that, hey, I'm not going to be able to do this right, and they'll just pack it up. And I mean, nobody likes to hear one open up on something that they can't do anything with, but I'd 10 times rather have her go another 400 or 500 yards and be sitting there under a coon and have me bust to get back in there and there ain't nothing there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing would be more frustrating
than they're empty.
Walk into this terrain to an empty.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That take the fun right out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And kind of talking earlier about how you were saying how you liked being able to hear and know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's really the whole point of a coonhound. You're supposed to listen to them strike a track of a coon, not just bark because they're morons.
Yeah.
Strike a coon, run the track, and then tree it, and vocally notify you when they're finding it and treeing it.
That's what the game is all about. It's always been for me is, from the time I got the first dog that I ever had, it was to catch coons. It was,
Right.
And, making excuses about why they don't have it ain't catching coons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Because why? I mean, why are you out there then?
Yeah, right. I mean, I've walked empty trees. Everybody has.
Yeah.
But my goal is to, have winners, and the reason why they won is because no matter what, they come up with the goods. They ended up with a coon. Yep.
Talking kind of about picking stud dogs and pairing them with females. Is there anything that you found that really worked back a long time ago versus now? Or do the same kind of things seem to be working?
Well, when Tom and I first started breeding dogs, it was the first daughters that we had together were Logan's Clover daughters. And they were out of a Toby female. Tom had an original Lone Pine Lady and Finley River Pete dog named Toby, and that's everything goes back to him. And we were diligent about trying to produce good dogs, and we did. We made some good ones, but the consistency was not really there. Sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't, and sometimes there was a cross that one or two would make it and the rest didn't, and that's not what you're looking for. You're looking for that consistency where if they had a chance, they made a passable dog, and it ended up that we bred Annie, one of the Clover daughters, to Sackett Jr., and that's where I got the old cowboy dog that I had. I called him Tug, and he was a surefire reproducer. And at the time, like I've talked to different people about this on different podcasts before, at the time, every dog in the magazine was out of Sackett Jr. Yeah. So we tried advertising him, and it didn't go over too good. He ended up with less than 500 pups in his lifetime. But when we outcrossed him and it was good, and when we bred him to like cousins that we had, it was gangbusters. They were good, solid coon treeing dogs that you could, when you have a breeding program and some of them are doing good. When you have that confidence that that I'm saving this pup out of this litter, like I have now, when I keep a pup out of a litter here, I don't very often even imagine that they're not going to make it.
Right.
They pretty much make it. I mean, you've had them at your place. You can see, they're easy to work with for the most part. Sometimes they all got a little peccadillo here and there that you got to work on, but for the most part, they pick it up, and you can see progress just about nightly, and that's the way it should be. Well, whenever you don't have that confidence, as soon as you see something, you're like, oh, I don't know if this dog's going to make it or not. You're already about half lost in it,
Yeah.
So whenever Cowboy come along, and I started to see that, and I seen that like novice trainers were having good luck with them. Mm-hmm. The dogs, just like all you had to do was just like take them to the woods. He changed the whole. That from then on in, it's been no looking back. The old Honey Buns and Patsy and those daughters of Cowboy that we had. You just bred them to good dogs, and they were Cowboy was on that top reproducers list of UKCs, and so was the daughters that we had, and they were. Track Girl was #1 female for years. It was. They were reliably good, honest, like steady coon treeing type of dogs, and it's been since him, it's been fairly easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you found a certain stud dog, or I guess a strain or line that you really favored over the years?
Well, I mean, whenever I bred to a lone pine male, I mean, actually Frogger is a really strong lone pine bred dog. He's like stylish clover like 3 times or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, that's that. But I like to, I like all that old time stuff back in there. But outcrossing can really produce some real stallions, especially like if you take a line bred female, like say Bertha.
Yeah.
Bertha's out of Lone Pine Louie, which was a brother to old Fran that I had, and bred her to Sue, and it was like all that stuff in there, and not only were they line bred on the bottom sides from their mothers from my stuff, but Bertha's line bred on Stylish Coma both times through Frankie and Coma's Legend. Mm-hmm. And I just knew, like when Bertha we were reliably treeing coons with her at 7 months old, that this female's gonna, if she lives and everything, she's gonna reproduce some powerhouses just because of all that concentrated blood. And then you throw in a total outcross like Bone Collector that I bred her to Bone Seaman the first time. I mean, I had very little doubt that they wouldn't be really good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that one out here out of Bone Collector? What female is
Yeah,
that?
That's Bertha.
Bertha.
Yep.
So is that the second cross?
No.
Or the first cross?
Yep. That. She was bred to Frogger the last time.
Okay.
Yeah. She's only been bred twice. Bone and then Frogger here the last time.
So how old's that young dog out there?
I think that she's about 8 months old.
Yeah.
Yep. But she you just turn her loose now and she's looking to get wooded. She's yep. She's really nice.
Do you have any, like, other than Lady, you said you're waiting to see if she took, do you have any other females you're going to be breeding?
I just got Jill back. That's a daughter of Bone and Sue, and I bred her to Willie.
Yeah.
So see what
if
happens
she
there.
took.
Yep.
Yeah.
She was bred after Lady was, so.
Okay.
Yeah. I've only had her back a couple weeks.
So you'll know
Yeah.
relatively soon.
That Alan Zimmerman there that you mentioned, I don't know how or what, but I know his name is on an envelope over there in the office there. I don't know if he sent a deposit on a pup or what, but he said he had questions on there. I know I recognize that name, but we've been really blessed to have some real good stuff happening over the last several years here now, and it's really encouraging to me that Troy's involved, and we're enjoying life here. Yeah.
Well, he's been hunting Farrah quite a bit. Hasn't he?
He's put I think all the wins on her here. He made her a night champion this summer and put a couple wins towards grand on her here this fall, and she hasn't been in very many hunts. Yeah, she's won most of the casts she's been in.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, I love her.
She's a hell of a dog.
Yeah, she is. She got the mouth, and she's got all the chrome. Yeah. My buddy, I had her started here, and my buddy John Owen, he was looking to he hunts with Kyle Preston. They live by each other up there. Kyle's been hunting, been a partner of mine for years, and John was looking for something to hunt, and so just like a lot of them that leave here at the time, they're in good coon hunting up north on the Ohio line, and I sent Farrah up there, and he did really good with her and got her where she was lock solid at treeing coons, and then we brought her back here to earn it. Yeah. It's really good for them. Yeah. I think so. I think that whenever they get this down pat here, I would stamp them as a coon dog. Yeah, because like I said earlier about like where I live, like it's easy for the really young ones just to get consistent. When they come across the coon track. Yeah, and then it's a completely different level coming to a place. Yeah, when the game is scarce, it's really hard on a young dog. I used to, when there was more coons here, I had lots of little places where I could just tuck a young dog in there, a little creek or a little hollow that would go up, and there was mostly a coon there. But it's changed now. It's not the way it used to be. And I'm mostly, the way these dogs hunt now, I have to pick an area more than a spot.
Yeah.
You can't pick a spot; they're not going to stay there, So you just pick an area where they're safe, and you just turn them loose and figure out how to go gather them up.
The best way to get to them.
Yeah.
Luckily, you have that side by side because
Yeah, you would have a hard time enjoying it otherwise. Really.
I don't know how you'd recut consistently.
That's the whole thing. When it came to where these hunts changed from where you were spot hunting and it was run the score up, tree a coon, move, tree a coon, move. When it turned into this dog has got to leave this tree that it has a coon in there, and it's got to be barreling in there as serious as it was the first one. It takes a lot of training to make that happen. Getting it, I think, especially in this country here, to get a dog recutting and being confident and digging in there and making it happen. That's when the side by side thing come on, because you see, like last night, if you'd turn in there and that dog's 0.8 and you walk in there, the last thing that you're going to do is recut them from there. Where are you going? I mean, you're talking, you ain't never going to get back to the truck.
No.
Yeah. So, that's made it so that even if you're in the back end of that woods and you recut and they go over and cross over and, you just go back out the way you came, and it's no big deal. It's only a mile or whatever. And you drive around there and it's all good. You need it, really.
Yeah.
To train a competition dog here, it's like a must. The alpha, the drive track, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Any part of that that's broke down, and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to go until I get this fixed.
Yeah.
Got to get the buggy fixed. Got to have everything working just right. And then you can, you just turn them loose with confidence, and that you're going to gather them up, and it's going to be good.
And you can get more trees and more work with them, because if you're walking that far, unless you're going to hunt till daylight every night, like there's no way to get 3 or 4 trees in if you wanted to, because you can't get to them.
Yeah, that's right. You would, in a lot of circumstances, if the coons aren't moving, you would turn loose somewhere, tree one coon, get the dog gathered up, put it in the truck, and you have to go back home.
Yeah.
Especially in the summertime.
Oh.
But our goal is, just about any night here that we tree that first coon, recut, see how quick the next one happens, and we either go shoot for, tree in 2 or 3, mostly, and then to get up to go to work and all that the next day. That's the goal. And most of the time, that's how it works, or if it's on the weekend, or, there's company here, we'll hunt later. But, normally I like to have it wrapped up in a decent time, so I'm not like a zombie the next day.
Yeah, because then it's easier to go the next night.
That's exactly right. Yep. Consistency, level. Yep.
Like you said, especially in the summertime.
Oh my!
Don't get dark till 10:30.
Oh, and it's so thick here, and there's just thorns on everything that grows, and then you get to this time of the year, and there's guys that are all pumped up about deer hunting, and you get seen on a camera or something, and it's like, well, what do you have to do this? It's deer season. I'm like, buddy, I've been waiting all summer for it to be decent out. I've been working on this dog all summer. I don't want to miss one night through the fall here, whatever your archery season is or whatever, So it's just one of them things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have you hunted Prophet or done anything?
Yeah,
with him
Rick has Prophet up there. He's treated a lot of coons this summer.
Yeah.
We'll bring him out, probably next season here, and start competition hunting him. And what he's like. I mean, he's solid. He's accurate. He's been bred now to. I'm going to say he's got close to 10 litters of pups on the ground, and they are. I've had two litters here, and they are fantastic. They are built beautiful. They are brainy. They're slick coated. I mean, they're just like studs. Yeah.
He's a gorgeous dog, so it makes sense.
I had a pup out of him and little Fran that we did that raffle on, and I took him to the UKC finals to get him delivered to the guy that won won the raffle. And in the park, where everybody was parked and stuff, I just turned this pup out. He'd been loose here,
Yeah.
He was about 3 months old or something like that. And everybody was like, man, and he was truly a diamond. There's no way that pup, isn't going to make it. He would get after a coon here, the first one he ever saw, just like Prophet did, videos of Prophet whenever he was like not quite 4 months old, just latched on to a tree, Yeah. So there, I think Prophet is, he's got to be a reproducer.
Yeah.
He has to be. And I know the guys that have had pups out of them, they're wild about them. So see what happens. But I'm not really, I don't like the stud dog thing.
Right.
And I can't hardly have a male dog here because I got a female, there's 10 females here or something. Somebody's in heat. Something's going on, all the time. And it just doesn't. So fortunately, Rick took him up there and he's been, and it's even worse hunting at Rick's than here. Oh, it's terrible. So what he's mostly been doing with him is we've got a female that Rick hunts all the time. We call her Huddy. She's out of Lady's Brother Bank that we had in Sioux. And just to make it even tougher on him, you turn her in there and let her get treed and just pull up there with the buggy and send him, and he's got to, he's got to look for the next one in there somewhere, and he's coming up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His litter mate, that Bob dog.
Yeah.
He's been doing a lot of winning.
He has. Yeah. He got second in the Super Stakes, and Chuck says he loves him.
Yeah.
So that's awesome stuff. Birchall and I had the dog together, and Birchall said, what would you think about, you selling your part? And I'm like, dude, I got enough, It's like
you got a whole yard full of
have
dogs.
fun with him, they are, and Chad and them guys, they don't make them no nicer than them fellows, I was really tickled to. I'd like to see other people doing good with my dogs more than more than myself, So it's all good.
And there was 3 in that litter.
Yeah, there was 3 in that litter. One was another raffle that we did. It might have been like the highest sold pup ever, like $8,300 or something he brought. And the dog got Blasto, and
I'm actually going to be getting him.
Oh, really?
November.
Oh, okay.
A guy, Lucas is his name, in Tennessee, I believe. Bought him from. I think he said. I can't remember the guy's name, but
yeah.
Lucas is a lineman, and he's been repairing a lot of the stuff from the hurricane damage.
Okay.
So he's gonna have me hunt that dog.
Oh, good. What's the report on him?
He says he hunts well, and he's treated him some coon, but he lives in Tennessee, and it's just not great, and he needs hunted.
Yep, he needs in the game.
So
that's good.
I'll get to see every dog out of that cross, which would be
super
pretty neat.
Yeah. There were three that lived in that cross, and I think she actually had 5. One was born dead, and then one day Amy called me and said, Sue's not feeling good. I was like, oh my goodness, Sue ain't never had a sick day in her life, even no matter how old she, she's like a battle axe,
Yeah.
So I went out there and took her straight to the vet, and she had a
pup lodged.
She had a pup lodged in there, and it was days and days after. Normally a female would have been, but she's just such a tough gal, that she didn't. She until it almost killed her, she wouldn't let she wasn't feeling good. Yep. So she's been, that was a big letdown with Sue that she didn't have a bunch of litters for me and everything. But you know what?
She won your world hunt.
That's it. I'm not hardly let down by nothing anymore, really. You know, it's like you just take it to, well, that was good, and this sucked, and that's how it goes. It's when you're dealing with animals, you just got to wade through the death and the sadness and the loss and just celebrate when the good stuff happens and when you meet the right people and and you see your boy out there with his chest puffed out, that he just won, and it's it's all good. I made a post here just not too long ago with a picture of my crew, and I never said a thing that I felt more strongly about in my life is that these kids these kids and my wife, they serve Jesus Christ, and if I never do another thing in my life, it don't matter.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like you can't imagine you could love people and your life and everything that much. So, you know, that's it. I mean, I don't know, you know, where it's going to go from here, but you know, I couldn't be more blessed, you know.
Right.
So, yeah, that's it.
Do you have anything else to add?
No, I'm just glad you're here. Steve's on his way. I'm going to the airport here in a little bit to pick him up, and I've met some really great friends through all this, you know, and you're one of them, and I just couldn't be more grateful, you know, for the friendship and the back and forth and all this stuff that goes on, you know, and it's just all good. Yeah, it's all good.
That's one thing I hope people that watch and listen to this stuff take away. So, like, so many, especially new people, they see so much competition stuff.
Yeah.
And its focus is just, and I'm not saying you're an old timer, but like Ed Mead and a lot of those older guys that have passed away, they say, like, they'll reflect and they'll say, like, the most important thing they got out of it was just, like, what we're doing here.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Well, I
no
agree.
cast wins. Just go hunt with each other.
Yep. That's the good stuff. That's the good stuff out there. Just like us sitting up on that peak there last night, you know. And he said, "Man, she's really in there. 0.8. You can hear her like she's right here, you know." And that's it. She said it's over. Come on. Yeah.
That wherever we were, if it was daylight, I bet that was one of the prettiest views you could have, because there was nothing higher than we were. We were at the tip top of everything.
You could see all the airplane safety. Did you see all them lights out along there? That's the highest ridge, like on the east, right there, east of here. That's what all them were. I don't know, you know, for flight stuff,
safety stuff.
Yeah.
It was pretty neat.
Yeah, that's. When I seen that she was heading in the right direction, she wasn't going to be in no danger there. I said, "We'll get up on there, and no matter where she gets, we'll probably hear her."
Yeah, if you can't hear one from up there, you probably should rethink whatever dog you bred to.
Yeah, it was a good time. So hopefully we tree some tonight here, and yeah,
I'm sure we will.
Yep. All right, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Yep. He ended up treeing 7/10 of a mile. Had my light on coming in, and he had another coon, so turned him loose 3 times. He had 3 coons.